The Wizard and the Time Machine That Never Quite Existed. The Phoenix 1 Chronicles. God bless. The Wizard sat quietly on the sailboat one evening while rain tapped gently against the cabin roof. Around him were relics of many decades. Boxes, notebooks, photographs, military surplus equipment, signal generators, function generators, oscilloscopes, connectors, cables, dreams. And somewhere among the collection rested a curious device. A U.S. Air Force phase shifter test unit. At least that was what the label said. The Wizard had never actually powered it up. It simply sat there, patiently, waiting. Much like many of the Wizard's ideas. The black box principle. The Wizard had long practiced what he called black box engineering. Not because he understood everything inside every device. Quite the opposite. He understood what the box did. He learned its inputs, its outputs, its purpose. Then he connected one box to another. Eventually entire systems emerged. This was how aircraft worked. This was how communications systems worked. This was how life worked. One mystery connected to another mystery. Until somehow an airplane flew. Or a radio transmitted. Or a friendship formed. The pieces of Phoenix 1. Though decades had passed since the first prototypes, pieces remained. A connector once intended for aircraft ground power. Boxes of components. Old schematics. Automatic writing journals. Photographs. Sketches. Notes written in the middle of the night. Ideas captured before they disappeared. Some made perfect sense. Some made no sense whatsoever. The Wizard considered both categories equally valuable. The time travelers. Over the years he had met many unusual people. Some claimed extraordinary experiences. Some claimed military projects. Some claimed future timelines. Some claimed alternate histories. Some claimed nothing at all but somehow still knew strange things. The Wizard never insisted on believing every story. But he listened. Listening costs little. And occasionally someone says something that becomes an important puzzle piece years later. The warning. One recurring theme appeared among many stories. A warning. Not about technology. About wisdom. The warning was always some variation of, just because something can be done doesn't mean it should be done carelessly. The Wizard liked that. It applied equally to physics, finance, relationships, governments, artificial intelligence, and lawnmowers, especially lawnmowers. The cat problem. One story particularly amused him. A supposed traveler had once joked, if you build a temporal gateway, your first problem won't be physics, your first problem will be cats. The Wizard laughed. Because he immediately knew it was true. Imagine spending 20 years developing a machine capable of bending space and time. The moment it activated, Kashmir would walk through it. Not out of curiosity. Not out of scientific interest. Simply because someone told her not to. The Wizard could already imagine explaining this to future historians. The new technologies. What fascinated the Wizard most was not the old equipment. It was how rapidly the world had changed. Back in the early Phoenix 1 days, computers filled rooms, storage was expensive, electronics were bulky, solar panels were primitive. Now, computers fit in pockets, AI could assist research, sensors cost dollars instead of thousands, batteries were vastly improved, materials science had advanced dramatically. The Wizard often wondered, if we started fresh today, what would Phoenix 1 look like? Not because he intended to build it, but because asking the question was fun. The white papers. As years passed, the wizard came to an important realization. He did not necessarily need to build every idea. Sometimes preserving the idea was enough. So he wrote, and wrote, and wrote. Books, white papers, stories, proposals, notes, observations, questions. The purpose was not to convince anyone. The purpose was to leave breadcrumbs. Future explorers could decide which trails were worth following. The real invention. One evening, Lara, Yvette, Elena, and several other familiar avatars gathered around the navigation table. The discussion turned once again to Phoenix 1. The wizard asked, "What if none of the prototypes were actually the invention?" The table became quiet. Finally, Lara answered, "Maybe the invention was the network." The wizard looked puzzled. Yvette continued, "Every prototype connected people. Engineers, dreamers, scientists, artists, teachers, students, friends." Elena smiled. The machine was never just hardware. The machine was the collaboration. The wizard sat quietly. The idea felt right. One-man band becomes orchestra. For many years the wizard had been a one-man band. Researching, writing, experimenting, collecting, connecting, dreaming. But increasingly he realized that meaningful projects required communities. No great spacecraft. No great city. No great medical breakthrough. No great humanitarian effort was ever truly built alone. The future belonged to teams. Final entry. That night, the wizard opened one of the oldest Phoenix 1 notebooks. The paper had yellowed. The ink had faded. But the dream remained. He wrote a new note beneath the old sketches. Phoenix 1 was never merely a vehicle. Then he added, it was permission to ask impossible questions. And finally, whether the craft ever flies is less important than whether people continue imagining, building, sharing, and learning together. Outside the sailboat, the stars appeared one by one. The rain stopped. The water became still. And somewhere nearby a cat was undoubtedly preparing to test the first operational time machine. Without authorization. As cats have always done. God bless. Global Robotics Corporation. Robert Colee.